Okay, it's day 111.1, day 111, dedicated to the Awans. This is the kind of thing that makes me feel good when an ex-FBI agent responsible at the Office of Personnel Management, responsible for the Awan type of folks that are coming into the country, uh, Navy, I think GS-15 or higher, so ex-Navy intel guy, when he says, love your reporting, that means a lot to me. So thank you, Mike, for that nice comment. Um, Chef Tuan, Chef Tuan is not really burning up the uh, Twitter. I think people are just now realizing that Anthony Weiner's uh, name was Chef Tuan, and for some reason this takes a while for the internet to understand. But if that indeed is, if there is email traffic between Chef Tuan and 123 at house.mail.gov, or between any of the Awans, I think that's going to be significant. I can't see Anthony Weiner being from the same district as Yvette Clark. Yvette Clark having taken over for her, and a lot of the iPhones being bought through Yvette Clark's office, and the previous secretary resigning from the CDW scandal. I can't see how Anthony Weiner wouldn't have known the Awans and known a lot of the legal work, and that was quite a few, 12 different motions and so forth, and 18 pages apiece, or excuse me, eight. I didn't really have time to keep up with redating the older year-old videos that I did a year ago. And this is my chance to kind of review where I was. And I went through the whole month, so I made sure the whole month is February 2017, so people can just search George Webb February 2017 if they want. And it was a great month. I really thought I was further off than I was, and I thought, well, when did I get the idea of uranium, this being uranium? And actually, you'll see at the end where I say Kislyak and the 6 meetings were uranium meetings. So I had a pretty good handle on this. I was trying to remember when I met, when I talked to Deep Uranium. It's not until the next month, but I was kind of honing in on uranium already this month. I think from Peter Schweitzer's book, I knew uranium was a big deal, but I hadn't connected the ones until the 28th of February. I'm still not on the road yet, but about mid part of this month, I'm just focused on the Awan brothers almost exclusively. Actually, from the 9th on, it seems like that's kind of my real focus. I kind of turned from DynCorp here to focusing in on the Awans. And every day for the past 50 days, Andrew McCabe's been on the front page. So I edited those out to go to the parts that were different in the February, but I'll just go through, and you can see how things kind of changed. I do, let's see, as we get later in the month here, you can see kind of looking at all the different angles of the Awans and so forth, and who they work for, and the servers, and the visas, and the cameras and the police reports that the Capitol Police might have had, and then also the lack of. This reminds me of the task force beating. She just had a new district attorney, and he said, "Hey, I don't have any of this information that you're saying of all these, who the 3 other suspects are and the gang members and all that." Well, reminds me very much of the same situation. The Capitol Police not looking into this, FBI not looking into this. And I'll go to the next page here just because it was a good month. That was the month Mike Flynn we found out he was illegally unmasked. It was a month that Devin Nunes had come forward and said, hey, there's some weird unmasking stuff going on. So this is all about a year ago. Talking about Andy McCabe, came out from the curtains at the White House with Reince Priebus, so that was also interesting. Earlier in the month, I talked about DynCorp quite a bit and Consular Foreign Relations, but that really kind of moved toward Health and Human Services, this organ recovery in Haiti. It was really, I go back and I'm really quite pleased with it. I talked about Aaron Schwartz and how this kind of compared to Aaron Schwartz. February so far, from what I've looked at, has covered the breadth and depth that I'm really the most proud of, and that's obviously had a lot of help. But the McCabe theme, was constant throughout there. One of the things I was happiest about is just the whole DynCorp and how this was just DynCorp rerun, and then the whole Palantir thing. I was really on the Palantir thing with the geolocation and satellites way back in February. It was good, and even talking about Muslim Brotherhood being a front and Awan's being a money launderer for that, the DynCorp backbone moving from Promise to Palantir, if people remember that. So anyway, I won't go through many more episodes other than to say, here's the Palantir stuff. Other than to say, I think it was pretty right on the money. This whole idea of PDD 62 was introduced this month, which is this kind of low intensity campaign against deplorables in the United States, whoever those are. I think that we don't know what that list is. That's another thing that the Intel Committee probably should start looking into. All these secret programs, and they call it the program, being read into the program is what they call it, the FBI. They need to be, we need to talk to America about what's happening. This case with Carter Page is so trivial compared to the massive amount of spying they did on the Trump campaign. But that is trivial compared to the U.S.-wide campaign, where no search warrants are ever even bothered about. They only bother with a search warrant until they actually go into trial. Khizr Khan, the EB-5s came out during this month. The Hezbollah ties came out this month. Were they leaking in certain military situations? That came out. The whole ties to Frank Giustra partners, as far as the mining was concerned. The ties to the Awan brothers and the BCCI and Amjad Awan was this month. Ashton Kutcher versus General Flynn was another good one. Here's where I'd said I was turning my focus away from DynCorp and overseas, and I really got the modus operandi, and I wanted to now show how those same things that were happening overseas, that the CIA was doing overseas through PDD 62, had now turned toward the U.S., and we just don't know it yet. It has turned toward the U.S. We're well down in flight of that. I think it really started in 2013 with Snowden, and it's continued ever since. So, and then I reported on a lot of things that nobody has reported on, or few other people. One of them was Shifa Gardi, her being murdered. I think back to Serena Shim as well, and these folks are just forgotten. But these, she went and found all these hollowed out shell bodies near the Kurds, where they had been victimized for organ recovery or organ harvesting. I guess they didn't need their organs anymore after they were dead. But the Shifa Gardi, stories, the Dilyana type stories, these are great journalists that have been murdered, and the common media has done nothing, zero, to remember them. So anyway, all in all, February last year, this is my February summary. I'm pretty happy with the reporting.